in. We always harp on the water because we've tried to ramp up everybody's understanding of how deadly and damaging water can be. But this could be damaging and deadly wind, too.
Yeah, I think back to something like a Hurricane Katrina. We saw a lot of video of the high-rise hotels where a lot of the windows are blown out. We saw that in Hurricane Ike as well. You look up and down, the beach here, and that's what you see. You just see high-rise, 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 and all that glass, that could be broken and damage that we could have there with the elevated winds when you go higher. So just be careful, folks. It's just not going to be a safe place for you to be. Let's talk a little bit more about the specifics here of Florence. As we know, that track has been pretty consistent coming into the Carolinas here over the past several days, but then it really puts the brakes on at about the coast. And it's because there's some uncertainty right now as to what it may do at that point, because that blocking high is just steering this thing in odd directions, right? Will it still continue north? Will it go south? Could it come inland? Those things are all still on the table. We do think that high winds are definitely on the table for us here, considering what we've got right now, 140 mile an hour, a hurricane. Look at tropical storm force winds and the probability of high winds come well inland, right? All the way up toward Raleigh and beyond, right? In Raleigh, we're talking 198 miles, right from the coastline, where we get some of these really strong winds that come in. But what do those winds really mean? You're like, okay, Mike, tropical storm force gusts or hurricane gusts, what are you talking about here? What's that really the practical takeaway? 45 to 57 mile per hour winds, okay? Mid-grade tropical storm here. We're talking trees that could be bent over. We got some limbs that could break. You're going to have maybe cosmetic damage to your home. But you get up to 58 to 74 mile per hour winds. Now we're talking significant tropical storm force winds here. Now you're going to see larger limbs break. You're going to see maybe some shallow-rooted trees that start to become uprooted. But let's go even higher. Wind gusts here that go up to 90 miles an hour. Now you're talking Category 1 hurricane. Now more significant roof damage, widespread tree damage, and weak structures that could be compromised as well. And this is why we're really concerned for you folks about the wind that could come with this, because we've got such a significant hurricane at this point, and there's no reason to believe that it won't continue to be that way. For a place like Myrtle Beach, highest impacts likely to be Thursday into Friday with the highest winds that come our way, 60-plus mile per hour gusts. But it's all going to depend on where the eye comes in. If the eye comes in farther south, that means the winds could be higher for us here in Myrtle Beach, but up to a foot of rain, 6 feet of storm surge is possible as well. So this is why people are being asked to evacuate, right? This is why we need to get people out of harm's way, because of those risks that are coming in. All right, let's bring back in Dr. Knapp, talk more about what the surge threats are, because Dr. Knapp, I look at where we stand here on this boardwalk, right? I look behind me, the beach is right here. The dunes, still in repair after Hurricane Matthew, compromised a lot of them, so they don't have maybe as good as protection as they'd like here. So Myrtle Beach, susceptible to storm surge.
Yeah, and individual locations may or may not experience anything worse or better than what they got in Matthew. It all depends on the exact track, but I would say, Mike, that the potential for what could happen storm surge-wise where you are is greater than what actually happened in Matthew. We could see a much worse storm surge, and so I don't want people comparing this directly to Matthew to say, well, I got through Matthew, so this one won't be bad either. This could be worse. And let me paint the picture for you for where the storm surge is expected to occur and how high in certain areas. Now, not everybody in all of these colored areas is going to get it, but we are expecting somewhere in this purple area for the storm surge flooding above normally dry ground, storm surge and tide combined, to be 9 to 13 feet above normally dry ground somewhere in that area. And then you see the 6 to 9 feet either side of that, and exceeding 4 feet Outer Banks in North Carolina up toward Kill Double Hills, and in the Myrtle Beach area it's possible we could get 4 to 6 feet where Mike is standing, but we're expecting 4 to 6 somewhere in that area. And I want to show you the hot spots. This is the potential storm surge flooding map from the Hurricane Center. Accounts for a variety of possibilities in track, intensity, and size. And what it does is helps you understand that this is not just a beachfront problem for the Outer Banks. Look at the areas that are lit up in blue and yellow and even orange that could get storm surge flooding above ground, because the water could rise as we go into the sounds and up the rivers. Places like Elizabeth City, for example, Columbia, North Carolina, could flood due to storm surge to the likes of what you see here. This is what's possible in any one given spot. Reasonable worst case scenario. Look at New Bern, North Carolina, inland from the Outer Banks, but up the Sound and up the river. And then even Wellington, North Carolina, that's on a river, the Cape Fear River, in a certain scenario could push the storm surge up in your direction. So we want you to